Hi, welcome back to this Friday edition of Focal Point on AFR Talk. I am Brian Fisher, your congenial, convivial, and amiable host. You are listening to Focal Point, the home of muscular Christianity on Conservative Talk Radio. We're going to take calls and this next segment after I chat with my guest. We'll take calls from you about your assessment of where things are at politically on the landscape with the Tea Party challenges to sitting incumbents, the Tea Party challenge to elite Republicans. We've had John Boehner out there making fun of his colleagues, saying he is determined to push immigration through amnesty against the opposition of the grassroots Republicans. What you think about all that, how you size that up. And here with us to help sort through some of this is Gina Loudon. Gina's been a frequent guest on this program. She's guest hosted this program for me on occasion. She's a talk radio host in her own right, one of the original founders of the Tea Party movement all the way back in 2009. She's an author. You see her frequently as a contributor on Fox News. Gina, welcome back to Focal Point with Brian Fisher.
It's so good to be with you, Brian. And I just have to tell you right off the bat that spending time in your good state the last couple of days, I can't tell you how many people have heard me fill in for you on your show. They say, I know you because I've heard you fill in for Brian Fisher. So you are just a giant of a human being in your state and around the country, of course. But it was amazing to me how many people would come up after I spoke. And that's why they knew me, because I filled in for you. Not Fox News, but Brian Fisher. So thank you so much.
Well, you're sure welcome. That's very encouraging to hear, and thank you for passing that along. Well, Gina, you've been in Mississippi. I think today, are you guys in Alabama today?
We are in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, headed to Texarkana tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
All right, so you're making a tour across the South. Now tell us, just for people that maybe don't know the details, tell us what you're doing, what the purpose of this little tour is, and who's behind it.
Well, this is what I love about the Tea Party. You know, people can try and push us aside and shoo us away and say that we're not relevant, but you know what? The place where we make a difference truly in the political system, especially as culture warriors, is in the primary, Brian. You know that. And the really cool thing about the Tea Party is that we can make a difference for those truly constitutional conservatives in the primary. So we're going to tough battles across the country. And it was great to see, of course, Chris McDaniel yesterday, two different stops he was at. And those kind of candidates who really need that push, really need that sort of grassroots support, and many of the people who are out there campaigning for them, you know, they want to hone the message, Brian. So they're looking for us to sort of give them the talking points that they can hit the campaign trail for their favorite candidate. And I want to encourage, of course, all your listeners to be sure and realize that they can make such a huge difference in these primaries right now. This is where a real battle is fought.
You know, one thing I want to mention to our listening audience while we're on this topic, AFA has developed under our C4 arm a voter guide, which I think is the best voter guide in America. And if your state has a primary coming up, some of these are very, very important because some conservative states, the winner of the Republican primary is going to win the general election almost by default. So oftentimes the real election is the primary. Go to afaaction.net, afaaction.net. You can access the voter guide. Put your zip code in there, and it'll pop up all of the races that are relevant to you that you will have an opportunity to vote on. So wherever you are, if you got a primary coming up, be sure to go to afaaction.net and access that voter guide. Well, Gina, tell me a little bit about, obviously, the Chris McDaniel, Thad Cochran race. That's a highly visible race. People all over the country are watching this one. Chris McDaniel, one of the candidates that's given maybe the best opportunity to unseat an establishment Republican in a primary. It's a difficult challenge to do that. What was your sense? You had two stops in Mississippi. I believe you were with State Senator Chris McDaniel. What's your sense on the ground about, is there grassroots enthusiasm for Chris McDaniel? What are you sensing about the momentum in this race? Where do things seem to be headed from what you can tell?
It's palpable, Brian, and I've been involved in the excitement meeting is palpable. I've been involved in politics really for more than 20 years. My husband was a 14-year state rep and then state senator in the state of Missouri. I know campaigns, and I know the look on the face of a winning horse. And I'm telling you, he is feeling very optimistic with a lot of good things happening, a lot of help being offered, great enthusiasm. Enthusiasm I really haven't seen, just frankly, in a long time. Now, maybe that's because I moved to California. I don't know. But I do think that that voter guide that you all are producing is such a critical thing, critical need at a critical time, and I hope that everybody will get a hold of those and pass those out to all their friends in the Patriot movement and beyond.
You know, one of the things, I played some sound bites in the previous segment, sound bites of two women who had visited Senator Cochran last year in March of 2012, right before the Supreme Court was hearing a major case on Obamacare. And according to them, and both of them, their testimonies agree, so they're, by the mouth of two or three witnesses, every fact is confirmed, that Senator Cochran was completely unaware that this hearing was even taking place. He just didn't know. He was unaware of it. Senator Cochran, a couple of times this spring, has said he had no awareness of the Tea Party, had kind of vaguely heard about it, but really didn't know anything about it. And then these two constituents of Senator Cochran said, look, he told us that fighting against Obamacare, in their terms, was a lost cause. I don't know if they were quoting Senator Cochran or just paraphrasing, but lost cause was the phrase that they used. And so, the average observer looking at that, and their question is, who's going to be our voice in Washington? We haven't given up fighting Obamacare. We're concerned about the progress of this thing in the court system and every other place. And so, as a Tea Party, someone who's involved in the Tea Party, I mean, it would seem to me that's the kind of thing that the Tea Party came into being to do something about, to try to get people in D.C. that are going to reflect, defend, promote, stand up for the values of ordinary grassroots Americans like you and like me.
That's it. We can't for a moment let the mainstream media try to force feed us more of these lame candidates. We can't for a moment listen to their message really on anything. If they're lying to us about the major things, Brian, we just have to realize again and again that they're probably lying to us about things that they want to talk about us that are internal. For example, the Tea Party said, well, you look at the examples of the Tea Party victories across the country and the people on the ground. I mean, that's just insulting to the average citizen who's gone out there and gotten involved in politics, and to be told you're insignificant, you make no difference. That's crazy. People put down their remote controls, right? And they got out of their recliners and they hit the bricks, and they absolutely started campaigning for the candidates they believed in. And now we have people all across the country at every level. People only want to take a look at the Tea Party caucus in the House. Well, you know what? We have them in every state capital across the country. We have them, in tons of municipal elections winning as well. And so this is a massive movement that needs to just quit listening to what the other side is saying and maintain what you said all along, and that is that most people think our taxes are too big, think our government is overreaching. Boy, if you didn't think it before, you can't help but think it now. And that counts for, I'm not kidding, Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, it doesn't matter. Most people, if you ask them those baseline ideas of conservatism, they straight up agree. So I just want to warn your listeners once again, like I know you do all the time, to not listen to what they say about us, and certainly not let it be an influence on them. If anything, just let it make them want to fight harder and tell their neighbors more about what they know, about what we've done and what we plan to do in the next upcoming election.
Gina, got a couple of minutes left here. You're on this tour with the Tea Party, and just for informational purpose for our listening audience, again, we don't endorse here, but I think our people would be very interested in knowing who the Tea Party is backing. Who are some of the other candidates in congressional races that you guys are trying to prop up on this tour through the South?
Well, we invite, my understanding, I'm certainly not in charge, so let me give that disclaimer at the very front of this. But my understanding from the folks with Tea Party Express is that I'm a speaker on their tour, so I'm in no way formally affiliated with them officially. But they're telling me that they invite all of the candidates to come. And it's a matter of who shows up, Brian. But you know that those constitutional conservative citizen activist types are the ones who show up at these rallies and shake hands. And we've met so many great candidates along the way. I feel like I have a chance to actually stand and get to know them, And so it's a really nice kind of friendly environment. And if folks want to come out, they can find the tour schedule. I have it posted on my website. It's drginashow.com. Gina spelled the Italian way, Gina, drginashow.com. The whole tour schedule is posted right there. We are now, as I said, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, headed north all the way to Minnesota, Brian, and we're even making a stopover a little bit Midwestern. So folks who want to check out that tour and see if we're going to be somewhere on their path, then join us and be sure and come up and meet me because I want to meet all your listeners for sure.
Well, there are a lot of hotly contested races that you guys are going to be in their states. I know in Louisiana, Mary Landrieu, very vulnerable.
Yep.
She was the 60th vote for Obamacare. She's going to face a stiff challenge. You go over to Arkansas where Mark Pryor is the incumbent. He was the 60th vote for Obamacare. He's going to have a real stiff challenge from Tom Cotton in that race. So there are a lot of pretty vigorously contested races, and it's important for the American people to pay attention to these. And again, follow the Tea Party Express. Dr. Gina's show. You can grab the itinerary for the Tea Party Express. And don't forget that voter guide, afaaction.net, for more information on primaries in your state. Well, Gina, we'll let you get back to the Tea Party Express bus. Thanks for taking time to give us a little bit of a report from the front lines. We appreciate it.
Always an honor to be with you, Brian. God bless you and your audience.
Okay, God bless you, Gina. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Dr. Gina Loudon, talk show host in her own right, the Dr. Gina Show. See her frequently as a contributor on Fox News. So it'll be fascinating to watch how some of these races develop. The one in Mississippi with Chris McDaniel challenging an incumbent, Thad Cochran. You've got in adjacent states, as I mentioned, Mary Landrieu, very vulnerable in Louisiana. You have Mark Pryor. In fact, if we can, I don't know if we can grab the Mark Pryor clip. I don't even know what I did with my rundown now. I think it's about clip number 19, if we can. I don't know if we'll have time to do it. Maybe we'll save that for coming out of the break. But, Emily, let me have you look for some Mark Pryor clip. Maybe I cleaned that out. Looks like I maybe deleted that. But I had a clip from Mark Pryor, Senator Mark Pryor in Arkansas. We had the sound bites from the constituents talking to Senator Cochran. I think fighting Obamacare is a lost cause. I don't think there's any point in it. He's not even following the judicial challenges that surround Obamacare. And then Mark Pryor said, look, if I had a chance to vote for Obamacare, I would vote for it again. I would do it all again. And Mary Landrieu, trying to get as far away from Obamacare as she can, she started a little move along with other vulnerable Democratic senators to try to propose an alternative to Obamacare, to make major fixes in Obamacare. What does that mean? They know that thing is an albatross around their neck. Remember Mary Landrieu? She took hitched a ride with Barack Obama to Louisiana on Air Force One, and then she disappeared. She did not want to be seen anywhere near him on the campaign trail. Focal Point AFR Talk, number to call 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. Be right back.